Hello, welcome or welcome back to the channel. Thank you for stopping by, I hope you're good. And welcome to the Attack on Titan book tag. I found one. Come on. If you've been on the channel for any length of time, you'll know that I'm currently very deep in an Attack on Titan fixation. I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. I don't want it to go anywhere anytime soon. I'm having a great time. I love it so much. So I was trying to plan some content and I thought, I wonder if there's like an Attack on Titan book tag, and I found one, and I don't think I could find it on YouTube, but maybe there's a video on YouTube. I couldn't find it, but I will link the WordPress like blog article thing that I found. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it will be linked below. There was a video linked to that, but that video had been deleted, so the original video is kind of there. You guys know how it works. This is fine. So I have my questions. The only stipulation I gave myself is that I couldn't use Attack on Titan or anyone from Attack on Titan for any of the answers, but I may just like give them as a side answer if it feels appropriate. Let's see. So the prompts are all based on the character, so I'll give you the character, the prompt, and then the answer. Let's do this. I will have to just look down to check the laptop because I don't have a very good memory. First up, we have Erin, a book everyone loves but you hate. Now, I think hate is a strong word, okay? Because we all know a book that I do hate. And I don't particularly hate many books, but strongly dislike, I guess, because I almost use Stardust by Neil Gaiman, but I feel like I always use that. So another one that I DNF'd and just really didn't gel with was Spinning Silver by Naomi Novak. And this is really highly rated and I know a lot of people really love it. But I just couldn't get through it. I actually DNF'd this. And I didn't rate it because sometimes if I DNF a book and it's because the book, I have issues with the book, I'll give it a 1 star. I can think of many books that I DNF'd and gave 1 star because they were interesting. But this, it kind of just felt like it wasn't for me. And I guess I don't really understand the hype. I was just incredibly bored. Do I hate it? No. Will I ever pick up anything by Naomi Novak again? Highly doubtful. I just don't think she's a writer for me. But I just feel like hate is such a strong word. I don't particularly have any strong feelings about the book. I just don't get it. You know? And also a lot of the books that I hated, everyone else did too, because they were that bad. Okay, next up we have Mikasa, a book that feels like a punch in the stomach. And for that I've gone for Angry as a Gift by Mark Oshiro. I read this book, I think not long after I'd read The Hate You Give. And I can't remember if I was actively looking for something in that vein or whether I was just seeing more of them, because I'm pretty sure I came to The Hate You Give late and it was when the movie was coming out. And so there was lots of like lists about it, other books like The Hate You Give, and maybe I saw it on that. I honestly can't remember what made me pick it up. But let me tell you why it hurt me. So this is about a guy called Moss, and he's gay, he's black, he lives in an impoverished area, and his school is becoming more and more militant. And a lot of his friend group are kind of like minority teens, so like non-white teens and LGBTQI plus teens, and they're all kind of like in this school system that is heavily underfunded. And rather than kind of like trying to address the problem at the start, maybe improve the curriculum, improve the kind of resources that they have, they start doing things like putting metal detectors at the school. So they start to treat the kids like criminals. If I remember rightly, Moss's dad was like a civil rights activist before he died, and something happens and Moss kind of becomes this like new spokesperson, but it's very reluctant. Obviously the subject matter got me anyway, straight off the bat. You know, we're already dealing with like institutional racism, the terrible disparity in the school system, I guess, which also applies in the UK, but in America it seems to be very centralised in certain areas, and, you know, obviously gun crime is a massive thing in America in schools. So all this kind of stuff is kind of put into this book. But it wasn't even just that did it. I'll tell you what did it. It was that I was reading this and I was like, well, that can't be true. Like, that is definitely not anything that's ever been used against civilians. That's like a military thing. And then I would look up the thing that was being described and see that not only had it been used against civilians, it had been used by American armed forces against their own civilians. And it's just like, I don't understand. And everything I read, I was like, surely this can't be real. Like, this must be like really, really over exaggerated. And I'm sure in some ways it was. I'm sure that it would be highly unlikely for everything in this book to happen in one like period of time in one school. But that doesn't make it any better. Because just because, okay, maybe not everything happens all at once, these things have still happened. And it literally just made me feel like sick, physically sick. It was an amazing book. Like, it literally got me in the feels so hard, and I actually want to reread this at some point, but I need to gear myself up to it because I just remember being a bit of a mess when I read it. But yeah, absolutely fantastic book. Now for something a little bit nicer. Armin, a character that can always cheer you up. And for that, I've gone for Tatsu from The Way of the House Husband. Literally, if I ever am having like a really, really shit day and I need cheering up, this would be the thing that I could just reach for. There is something so hilariously funny about Tatsu, the immortal dragon, ex-Yakuza, approaching housework like it's a hit. Like a Yakuza hit. It's hilarious. It genuinely is so funny. Everything. He does everything like he's been instructed to do it by a mob boss. So like going to the shops, doing just like grocery shopping, trying to fix something. He has a fight with a robotic Hoover in the first volume. It is just so wildly entertaining. He is so intense. And everyone is scared of him because he still looks exactly like a Yakuza, and there's just something so funny about that to me. Then we have Levi, a character that appears strong but hides many fears and insecurities. There really is only one answer for me, and that is Kel from A Darker Shade of Magic. The reason that Kel is one of my absolute favourite characters of all time is because he is so immensely powerful. He has all of this magic. He's so strong, and also because of his position, he is just powerful in general. Like, people respect him. He always has this kind of element of authority, maybe not against like the king and queen, but just like in general life, he has a position of authority. So he is incredibly strong in so many different ways, yet is just absolutely riddled with self-doubt, self-hatred, this kind of like fear that he is not enough, or he is not getting enough out of life, or that he doesn't fit in with the family, or whatever. Like, there is just so much going on in his head all the time. It's why he kind of acts out the way he does, because he doesn't feel he has any control over his life. So he has all of that stuff going on, but at the same time, literally, people are afraid of him because he's that powerful. So, him and Levi, besties. Next we have Irvin, an intelligent, intricate plot that's rich in politics. I kind of struggle with this one because I was like, do I read any books that have a lot of politics? Possibly not. So I thought, well, probably my safest bet is to go for a fantasy. And then I remembered The Puppy War by R.F. Kuang. And one day, I swear, I will finish this series. Because I've still only read the first book. I actually feel like I need to kind of reread this before I continue the series, but from what I remember, there is a lot of kind of like politics and kind of war stuff in it, and it's very, very intricate. There's a lot going on, but I just remember it being absolutely amazing, and I'm literally just so mad at myself for not continuing the series because I absolutely adored the first book, but now I definitely need to reread it. But I do remember that the plot was just amazing. And then we have Hanji, a character who's still misunderstood and a bit underestimated. And I will die on this hill. I'll die on this hill, okay? I don't have strong feelings about much of what Sarah J Maas has done. I DNF'd Akamath and just walked away from that whole series. I don't, like, seek out her work. I'm not particularly keen on reading anything else, but I really enjoyed the Throne of Glass series. It's been a long time since I read it, but I really, really enjoyed it. And Kale is a good character. Kale is probably the best character. Fight me. Genuinely fight me. I don't care. I said what I said. He has one of the absolute best character arcs. And I know that people like really dislike him at the start. I never did. Never. I don't know what that says about me. I always liked him. I always think that people misunderstand him because he has a lot in his history that make him as he is at the start. He goes through a lot. I think that you'll just need to calm yourselves, okay? And this has really been on my mind a lot recently because both Lottie from Lottie's Library and Cara from Cara's Bookshelf have kind of been reading the series and putting out vlogs. And if you haven't been watching them, you should definitely go check it out, particularly Lottie's Tower of Dawn vlog, because I think she says it all. She came round to my way of thinking and it made me very happy, okay? Tower of Dawn has always been my favourite book in the series. I say like I've read it more than once. It was my favourite book in the series. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I think it's the best book. I think that Kale is the best character and he has the best character arc. You should definitely go and check out Cara and Lottie's vlogs because it's been a good time. But the reason it's been on my mind a lot is because, especially at the start, there's a lot of Kale slander. And I've got to tell you, it's a hard time being a Kale lover. Okay. Genuinely enjoy watching those vlogs so much, but I do kind of sit there going, oh man, it's bleak being a Kale fan sometimes. It's hard. It's hard. Speaking of favourite characters, the next question concerns my boys, Rainer and Bertolt, two characters that have always remained close for better or worse. We're going back. We're going back to A Dark Shade of Magic. And obviously we're talking about Rai and Kel. Okay? The best sibling relationship that has been written, in my opinion. I absolutely adore them. The way that they will literally do anything for each other, their kind of like banter, the love that they have for each other, so perfect. Does kind of bite them in the arse a little bit. If you've read it, you know. If you know, you know. You know? There's definitely some events that go down that you just think, oh, this is going to have some repercussions. But in the moment, it has to happen. They have to do it because they just love each other that much. Sure does have some repercussions. You know? You know. Next, Jean, Sasha and Connie. 3 side characters that together would form an invincible team. Now, I've gone for 3 side characters from 3 different manga series. And I use side characters quite loosely because they're not the main character, but I don't know if I would call them side characters. I still think of them as main characters. They're maybe not like the main character with a capital M, capital C, but you know, they're still pretty high up there. So, but we'll go with it. So first up, I have Bon from Blue Exorcist. Now, Bon is my favourite character from Blue Exorcist. Don't get me wrong, I love Rin Okumura, I always will. But there's just something about Bon that I absolutely love. He's so very, very, very intelligent. He is quite an angry man, but with a heart of gold, which is always my kryptonite. And just in general, I think he's an absolute badass. So he would bring to the team a lot of intelligence, a lot of knowledge. He has an incredible memory. He remembers these massive long arias. And he's a very good, like, demon fighter person. So, good. Then I would add in Hoshina. I think that's how you say it. Which is this guy from KG number 8. Because the boy can fight. Okay? So if you were going up against demons of the like, he would be, you know, casting the arias and like remembering all the details that you needed. He's like the Sam Winchester, and this is the Dean Winchester, ready to kick some ass. Okay? Yes, I've turned it around to Supernatural, just go with it, okay? I also feel like he is very, very good at research, again, like Sam Winchester. So no matter what you're going up against, he's probably going to find out everything he can about it. and then teach this guy how to kill it. He's bringing the firepower, he's bringing the speed, he's bringing the leadership because he is second in command. So, good. And then what do we need to round it out? What do we need to round it out, I hear you say? We need Nobara Kugisaki from JJK, because she will strike fear into the hearts of men and it'll be beautiful. Kugisaki is one of my absolute favourites. I love her so much. She's an absolute badass, whilst also remaining totally feminine. Now, you know, like sometimes you get a female character that is a badass and then they make her quite masculine? No. Kugisaki can kick your ass and go shopping. She enjoys makeup. She loves to go shopping. She has many places that she wants to go in Tokyo. It's one of the main reasons that she signed up to go to the school. Yeah, alright, she'll fight curses, but what she's really here for is the city. Okay? She's here for a good time. Don't necessarily get a good time, but she's here for it. She's another incredibly powerful fighter. She is quite intimidating, as I said, and I just think that if you paired her with these two guys, there's no one else is. They're gonna win. They are like literally 100% of the time gonna win. Everyone else can go home. Then we have Survey Corps, an author you admire so much you wish you had written one of their works. And the temptation to use Isayama, who wrote, I think that's how you say it, who wrote Attack on Titan, is so strong, but I told myself I was not going to do that. In fact, I didn't give my other Attack on Titan answers. I was very strong, but I've broken here. Because the plot of Attack on Titan is just so good. The characters are amazing. But it's not even just that, okay? Because if you read the manga, or if you watch the anime and then go back and watch it again, but if you read the manga and then you read it again, or you watch the anime again, knowing the events, the foreshadowing, everywhere. Where there's things that I don't even notice, and then I'm like on TikTok and someone's talking about foreshadowing, and I watch this clip and I'm like, wow, from the start. When I finished the whole thing, when I finished the whole manga and I finished the whole anime, I'm reading it again. And I'm watching it again. Because I know that there's things that I've missed. I know there is. Because once I knew certain things in the manga, when I was then watching the anime, I was like, how did I miss it? How? God, you guys have got to read or watch it. Both. Do both. Just everything. Anyway, my answer to the question is actually V.E. Schwab, which probably doesn't come as much of a surprise. V.E. Schwab and Grady Hendrix are kind of like my two favourite authors, but the worlds and the characters that V.E. Schwab creates, amazing. Amazing. I love V.E. Schwab's writing. Love it. I love her characters. There is just so much about the worlds that they create and the characters that they bring to life. I wish that I had like an ounce of her writing talent. Just a smidge. But I don't. And more importantly, I don't have the patience. So, yeah. V. Schwab, what an absolute legend. And now, I guarantee you'll all know this answer before I get out. Titan, a book or character that you would like to remove from the face of the earth. Say it with me, gang. Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. Oh, I hate this book so much. You know, earlier when I was like, oh, hate's such a strong word. Not for this, it's not. Not for this, it's not. Oh, I just hate everything about it. I hated every word. And it wasn't because it was like a bad story, although it was a bad story. It was just so badly written. Everything. And if you haven't seen my Abominable Book Club unboxing, I'll link it here, but spoiler, they sent me Cassandra Khaw's new book. And I'm just so full of rage, but yes, I will be rage reading it at some point for a vlog, so watch this space. And the absolute twist of the century will be if I like it. Can you imagine? I'll never live it down. I might just have to force myself to hate it on principle. I won't do that, but I think I will anyway. Like, hate it, not force myself. Move on. Next up, Krista and Amir, your favourite OTP. And for that, I've gone for my boys Andrew and Neil. from the All for the Game series. Now, I know, this series is not winning any literature awards. I don't care. I love it. I love everything about it. Everything. I love the over-the-topness. Love it. I love the angst. I love the drama. I love the humour, which comes out every now and again. Look at the love. Look at all those tabs. This is the first series I ever tabbed. I didn't highlight, so obviously I need to go back through and highlight the bits that I tabbed. And it has been a while since I reread it. I normally reread it every year. And I know it is not a good series. I don't care. There is something about the characters that Nora Sakovic has written that literally just get their claws into you and they never ever let go. I'm living for it. Living. I really want to reread this. It's happening before the end of the year, for sure. For sure. And I just love Andrew and Neil. I think they are so perfect for each other. And they're just both so damaged. And for somehow they just work together perfectly. Like, literally. Love them. Love them. Love. We're almost there, gang. The basement, a fantastic place you would love to visit. We're going back again. 4 times I've held this book up. I don't care. Red London. It is my go-to answer for any question like this. I would love to live in Red London. Love it. It's where I want to be. Surrounded by magic? Yes, please. Yes, that's where I want to be. Maybe not like through the events of this book or this series, but you know, like after, when things are kind of mellow, although threads of power, who knows what's going to happen. Hopefully nothing bad. Yeah, sure. It's going to be fine. There is just something about Red London that really appeals to me, and I want to live there. So if anybody can find a way to make that a real place, I will move there. In a heartbeat. And finally, The Walls, a literary genre that you would like to explore and or deepen. Now, I already feel like I'm kind of reading the genres that I'm interested in. There isn't anything particularly that I'm like, oh, I really want to start reading that. But what I'd like to read more of is definitely, and this may surprise you, horror and thriller. I know that like I talk a lot about horror books on the channel, but I still feel like I've barely like scraped the surface of horror as a genre, and even more so with thrillers, because for a long time I didn't think that I liked thrillers, but I'm starting to think that I'm wrong. Much the same as what's kind of happened with romance, but I kind of quite like the relationship that I have with romance, where I kind of dip in and out of it, whereas thriller and horror, I want to read loads more. I want to delve deeper into those genres and find the things that really work for me, the things that don't, and kind of really get to know those genres more. So even though I do think I read a lot of horror now, that hasn't always been the case. In fact, when I first started the channel, and it's funny to me because I feel like people think of my channel and they think horror and manga, and I got into those like literally just as I was starting the channel, and before that it was YA fantasy all the way, all the time. So it's really funny to me that I'm not really associated with fantasy at all, from what people have said to me, because that was literally all I read for years. And now I kind of, that's a genre that I dip in and out of, whereas horror and manga make up a lot more. So I just feel like there's so much of horror that is left for me to discover and kind of get to know my tastes even more. So horror and thriller are my answers for the final question. We did it. We did it, gang. So I'm not going to tag anyone, but if you want to give this a go, consider yourself tagged. You can say that I tagged you, and please let me know because I'd love to see your answers. In the comments below, let me know either a book that you would remove from the face of the earth, or a character that you think is kind of like underestimated and misunderstood, or if you just want me to know you're here, that purple heart is always appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed and like to see more bookish content from me, remember to hit that button, leave a like if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Insecurity, fear, like lack of, like he just doesn't feel in control at any point. Wow, you've already said all that. But they're Maybelline, not Maybelline. Maybe she's Maybelline. Then we have Survey Core, an author you admire so much you'd wish you had. An author you admire so much you'd wish to have written one of his. Then we have Survey Core. Oh, fuck! I can't get this sentence out.